This episode of RSR is brought to you by Isotope, Native Instruments, SAE Institute, Spectra 1964, and Grace Design. These are tools that I use every day in my studio, from the Spectra 1964, STX 600, 100, and 100D, and Native Instruments Complete 26, to Isotope Ozone and RX, and the central hub for my studio, the Grace Design M701 audio interface. Follow the sponsor links in the show notes. Grab my free mixing course at mixmasterbundle.com, and remember to like this video and subscribe on YouTube because it's a great way to help support this show. Now, get ready to rock. You have to allow yourself to sit around and have space to create. So my question to you is what do you have to give up in life to be a great songwriter? What do you have to
everything
let go of?
Everything. All your relationships, your physical and mental health. No, those to a certain extent, do get damaged in wanting to stay up all night to think or not eat or sleep for a while because I'm still thinking and writing. I'm always looking for some kind of dopamine hit. That's what songwriting gives me. And the way I get it is by feeling like I'm doing something that I'm not meant to be doing. So it's almost like a rebellious act for me to go, oh, I'm meant to be doing this spreadsheet or paying the bills, but I'm going to go write a song.
Welcome to Recording Studio Rockstars. I'm Lid Shaw, and this is the podcast created to help you become a rock star of the recording studio. The new Isotope RX12 is here, bringing powerful new AI tools to help you repair and improve your audio faster than ever. RX12 introduces scene rebalance for separating dialogue, music, and sound effects, plus Stems View for visually editing stems inside your session. You can clean up noisy recordings, remove bleed, rebalance mixes, and automatically trim silence from long audio files in seconds. Whether you're producing music, editing podcasts, or working in post-production, RX12 helps you fix the unfixable fast. Go to isotope.com and use the code ROCK10 for 10% off. Howdy, rock stars. It's your host, Lid Shaw, and welcome back to Recording Studio Rockstars, bringing you into the studio to learn from recording professionals so that you can make your best record ever and be a rock star of the studio yourself. My guest today is Jordie Lane, a Nashville-based Australian indie roots artist, composer, and producer. Born to a comedian and a clown, Jordie spent his early years in a traveling circus. Don't we all feel that way sometimes? From making an album in a motel room where Graham Parsons died, to playing the part of Graham in a stage musical, to a chance LA recording session with legendary drummer Jim Keltner, Jordie's path has been anything but typical. He's performed the Beatles' Revolver at the Sydney Opera House, composed music for TV comedy, become unexpected phone pals with producer Mitchell Froom, how cool is that, during the pandemic, and slowly taught himself to mix and master in the box. Known for creative applications of makeshift gear and unconventional spaces, Jordie often builds limitations into the process to inform creativity and shape the records that he makes. With an artist catalog of 15 releases under his belt, including Tropical Depression, which debuted at #1 on the Australian ARIA country chart. That's awesome. Jordie has toured with legendary artists including Billy Bragg, The Moody Blues, Gautier, and Old Crow Medicine Show, among many others, and appeared at festivals across Australia and North America. Jordie is a super talented singer-songwriter, and I'm very psyched today to have him here to talk about writing great songs and creating in the studio. Please welcome Jordie Lane to Recording Studio Rockstars. Jordie, are you ready to rock, dude?
I am ready to rock.
Glad to have you here in the studio, man. Welcome to Ready to Rock Studios.
Thank you so much for having me. I've listened to this podcast for many years. I think it was Australian friend, bass player in my band, said, you got to listen to this podcast. So,
that's very cool, man. Thank you.
Getting the invite to come on here is, super exciting. So
I think we met at a Christmas party, wasn't it? With the Christmas caroling. It's like a...
Yeah.
Had you been to that one before?
No, it's like some, legend that there's this caroling party that all the great singers and songwriters and players in Nashville go to, and I'd never made it there. And I finally got there, and it's so magical. Although it's great to see really talented musicians singing badly as well.
Yeah, right.
But everyone's just out there in the bitter cold, going door to door, singing carols. And I remember it was like tough. There was a lot of houses that weren't opening the door. But we finally...
It's probably a little cold out.
It was. We finally got to a few, and then I think we were chatting at the end of the night, doing that heart-to-heart hug.
Oh, that's right. Yes, because a friend, a mutual friend who was at the party, she was, I typically am like, hey, good to see you, do like the bro hug on the, somehow it's like that one side to one side thing a lot of the times. I guess because otherwise you just bump your heads into each other, right?
People always use their right arm to go to put over and hug people. And then this lady was, teaching us to do it the other way around.
Right, because if you do the left side, then that's actually connecting your heart.
And like for anyone out there who hasn't tried it, it's really good. We did it this morning as well. And now we feel...
Don't you feel it in this podcast interview right now?
You're physically... I know this is not much about making records, but it kind of is like for people's hearts, or at least the skin on the outside of your hearts to physically touch, it gives you a bit of a thrill.
Do we? We might want to clarify. Roxas, we didn't. I mean, we weren't
skin to skin.
Yeah,
sorry,
we didn't go like full on nipple.
No.
Naked chest. I mean, like I picture Will Ferrell being there in that moment.
Yeah. Go, Mom, I want some skin to skin.
But who knows? I mean, you never know. I mean, maybe that's an even. I mean, you just. I will say, life is full of surprises about things that you run into that you think that is so ridiculous, and then you experience it and you're like, I had no idea. You know?
No, I think I've been telling audiences and doing it in the studio now, asking everyone to try the left arm over the shoulder,
really?
Heart-to-heart hug. It just instantly takes people off guard and then forces them to connect in a different way. And I love it.
I'll have to let Molly know that too. Molly, shout out to you. So the other thing, that reminds me of another interview I did a long time ago here on the podcast, and somebody was talking about the hugs, are beginning a session. This sessions by nature are like you want to feel comfortable around everybody. You want to feel close enough because there's just like so much. It's creativity, there's so much vulnerability in making a song or making music or whatever, or doing whatever.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if there's other styles of music where it's like the opposite to get it right, but I feel like for most of the records I've done, you want that kind of connection. But this other guest brought up, so therefore, a brief hug would be a normal, hey, great to see you kind of thing. But this other guest was bringing up the idea of like, actually doing a prolonged 20-second hug. And then like in that longer, that like slightly longer than, almost the point of awkwardness is enough to actually transfer energy.
Yes.
And so then I started thinking about that, and I think I tried it before, and I was like, damn. Although I don't really give I didn't give you a 20-second hug at the door.
No, we can do it on the way out.
All right, later. Later. If we do a session. We don't have to write a song on this one.
Sorry, the beginning of this podcast has got railroaded by heart-to-heart hugs. But I mean, just talking about that, like we did something interesting in the studio where we brought a friend who'd just been certified in doing sound baths. So working with like crystal bowls and other instruments that take you on a kind of sound journey. And so we hired someone to come into the studio sort of in a midway point of the session to kind of give a reset to the band members, the engineers, everything in a sonic way, so that your ears are given the exact opposite to what you've just been working on. And it was pretty amazing. So everyone could do whatever they want: stand, sit, lay down, curl up in a ball. And this person, Hannah Delin, led this sound bath and took us through this journey of different sounds, and which was incredible. And when we got back into the tracking room, it was that rest of the day was just completely energized, and we like powered through songs and really got some of our best work done, because the script had been flipped with these a different kind of sonic landscape for your ears to experience. And highly recommend doing different weird things like that in the studio to kind of take people out of themselves or their own ego. Or
we kind of need that, right? There's an idea, I think, in creativity, in songwriting, in the studio, that like everything we need is right there with us at all times.
Yeah.
Like it's inside. It's like creative energy. It's great ideas.
Yeah.
It's a, incredible thoughts or whatever, inspiration. And so our job is always to like find a way to tap into it. Like it's already there.
Yeah.
Although I think there's, what do you think about that? I mean, some people talk about songwriting, which is really on my mind right now. And the search for ideas, the search for lyrics and stuff. Some people talk about it like opening up and receiving, but I feel like it's also just already there inside us, or maybe it's all connected. What? Yeah. How do you think about that stuff? Do you have a process that?
I mean, my process that only really discovered in the last few years, it was during the middle of the pandemic. I needed to get out of the house. Me and my partner and my dog were just, in each other's space for a whole year and a half or whatever. And
where were you located at that point?
In Nashville, East Nashville,
okay,
like that 5 Points area. And so our landlord, who runs 100 plus properties, I gave him a call. I'm like, have you got any crappy, cheap places that aren't really up for rent? I don't even need any sort of facilities. And he's like, he's got this full Southern accent. And he's like, I got this one place, ain't pretty, no running water, no electricity. And it was middle of summer. And I'm like, that's fine. I just need a place with walls to write. And
And
so I got this.
Don't you find that an empty space is actually kind of nice? Like it echoes a little bit?
Yeah, well, that's a good
for writing.
Play on words, because I ended up writing this series of songs that I released as a thing called Empty House Tapes. And the reason physically having emptiness around you creates space for that energy to come through. And that's why I've always loved doing things late at night when everybody else is asleep. There's also that space for that energy to come through. But literally being in a space with no possessions in it except maybe your tools for writing or recording.
I love that you just used the word no possessions.
Yeah.
That's so crucial.
I do feel like possessions they're often like baggage, and baggage often weighs you down.
Yeah. And who possesses who?
Yeah. Well, you often are a slave to your material possessions, or you hold on to them in the hope that they make you something greater than you are, whether you're someone who wants a big fancy car or whatever. For me anyway, they kind of smother me, suffocate me, so I don't have room for that energy of song ideas and stuff to come through. So I highly recommend that to anyone. Just get yourself in an empty space, whether that's a house where someone's moved everything out of, or in the middle of a forest where you're surrounded by, beautiful, organic, gentle presence of trees and stuff. Like,
now, do you think that's
really
related?
And
do you ever think that's related to the style of music that you make or tend towards? Do you ever feel like, do you ever wish you were breaking out into new style directions? And what about that as related to that process?
No, I think that having that emptiness around you means that anything and everything can come through, including, like, I'm constantly creating music that is completely different ends of the spectrum genre-wise. As far as like myself as the artist, Jordie Lane, I kind of do stick to the folk storytelling Americana thing, but that is sort of a limitation in a way because I'm often writing weird electronica, gothic kind of musical, theatrical music, and it's all just hidden in this
right, you've
hard
done
drives.
Theater. You did the Graham, the part of, so that's Graham Parsons.
Yeah. So like Graham Parsons was big influence on me when I was like finishing high school. I was trying to work out what I was into, and I'd been through that kind of inspiration of Dylan and Van Morrison, Springsteen, and then further back to things like Hank Williams and Howlin' Wolf and all of that. And then discovering Graham Parsons was he has this vulnerability in his voice and such a strange kind of rock and roll story of how he ended up dying that I was just really intrigued by him. And so that was the reason I came to America, to kind of follow that path of where he hung out in the Joshua Tree National Park and where he ended up dying in a motel room there. And all of that just sort of, because I was open to things, I had no friends here, I just, as a tourist for 3 months, I was just like, one thing led to another, and then I ended up like recording an album in that room 8 at the Joshua Tree Inn, where he OD'd and died. And
did you ever get to meet Phil Kaufman here?
I didn't get to meet Phil Kaufman.
He's here, I think.
I did get to meet.
He's got the greatest license plate you've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, it says. I remember seeing it because I knew a girl who lived right next door to him, and it was he had his RV or something was parked right there on the side of the street, and it said PHK like OFMN or something, whatever would fit in the license plate. So it looked like fuck off, man.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, what a character, and the story about what he did. And one thing I got to do so I made this video out in the desert of making this record in the motel room and kind of burning a guitar in the desert as a sort of tribute and effigy to Graham.
Your favorite guitar?
No, I specifically went to Guitar Center in LA, and I just walked straight up. There was a guy filming me who randomly was filming a documentary about an Australian dodgeball team that had made it to some dodgeball finals. He was on break from that, and he said, "Can I follow you around?" And so we went to Guitar Center, and I said, "I would like your cheapest guitar for lighting on fire." And it's just hilarious. The guy there is so cool, didn't bat an eyelid, just went, "Oh, right this way, sir." And I don't know what it was. It was actually really good sounding. I think it was a Court. It was like $100 Dreadnought.
A Court was once my pride and joy guitar.
Yeah, and apparently that was a good one for burning. And so I went out to the desert. I wrote 2 or 3 songs on it in the motel room, and then lit it on fire in the desert, which environmentally not a good thing at all, and probably breaking the law. And but it was all a crazy experience. And then this journalist, who was the last person to ever interview Graham Parsons, Michael Bates, a Canadian journalist, wrote a play about Graham and Emily Lou, and he saw me and met me at a music festival in Canada. It was like 2012, and asked me if I wanted to do this play as Graham, like in the full nudie suit.
Nice,
and it was amazing.
Dreaming of a career in audio or the entertainment business? SAE Institute Nashville, in the heart of Music Row, offers hands-on programs where you'll learn on professional-grade gear with industry pros, learning through real projects, not just lectures. Explore studio production, live sound, audio for film, and a whole lot more. Or take the entertainment business program to learn about contracts, promotion, and more. With diploma, associate, and bachelor's programs, there's a path for you. Book a tour today at nashville.sae.edu or call 615-244-5848. You want to describe what a nudie suit is? Because people who hear that for the first time, they might not have a clue.
Yeah.
I don't think I had a clue until I finally learned about it.
Yeah, so...
It does not have to do with that, the nipple hug rock stars.
So this guy, Manuel, here in Nashville, created these suits where he embroidered, stitched on different bits of fabric, to a suit. Imagine maybe even a 70s disco kind of suit, but with patches stitched on.
Like applique.
Yeah, so for the Graham suit, it included Joshua trees and cactus, and I think there might have been spaceships and marijuana leaves and roses and all these different. You see a lot of the old country stars wore these suits. And
I want to do that.
It's really come back in now, and I'm pretty sure, I can't remember if he's
just
still...
make my own. I want to just get you, get thrift store clothes and then just start...
Well, yeah, you could do it, because I'm pretty sure the real thing costs a lot of money to get made.
So his last name was Nudie, right? Nudie or something? Or is that
wait, maybe I'm not an aficionado here.
All right. Don't mean to put you on the spot about the history.
Yeah, so maybe the original designer was that, and then Manuel was the guy who actually... stitched them together.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. But it's just this beautiful design for the jackets. So a lot of those wild country outfits that you would see.
Yeah.
That are so elaborate looking.
Yep. So we wore that. It had to get taken up a lot because there was a Canadian cast member who was about 6 inches taller than me who first wore it. But that was an amazing experience, and that's where I got to learn how to sing together with a fellow Australian, Claire Reynolds, who's now a producer named Lollies. And, yeah, we subsequently started touring in each other's bands and then producing each other's stuff. The whole thing of coming to America to follow the story of Graham is the whole kind of evolution of how I got to be here, and now here I am. Based in Nashville.
Well, it's fascinating because I've been out to Joshua Tree, and I stayed at a place called Red Rimrock Ranch or something like that. And it was these great little cabins and everything, and it was pretty close to that area. And I met Jim Lauderdale, the songwriter.
Yeah.
So we were actually renting a little cabin, and there he was just walking around with a guitar, probably wearing a suit that looked like that,
Hell
just kicking around the desert.
Few of those suits, yeah.
And I was like, that's so cool. And it was my introduction to this idea of a pro songwriter will do that, what you just described, go out to emptiness and get away from phones and distractions and everything, and just to get lost in the world of writing.
Yeah, well, and I've definitely, what happened out there was I wrote that song on the guitar in the motel room. I was like, man, there's some energy out here, whether it's Graham or kind of just the cosmic psychedelic energy of Joshua Tree. And so I was determined to write more songs and record. So I was always a huge fan of Springsteen's Nebraska, and really intrigued by using a 4-track, and
that's where he took the drum machine and the 4-track and just
I met this guy in a bar. I think he was playing that night. It was the Echoplex in LA, and we got to talk, and I'm like, you don't have a 4-track cassette recorder or anything, do you? And he's like, yeah, I got one. It's at a friend's mum's place or whatever. Maybe you can track it down. And it was just this crazy adventure where I went to his friend's mum's place. She pulled a gun on me. And I think, she was from Ireland and very, had gone through a lot there and was just extremely, protective and scared. And anyway, I said, I'm just here to pick up the Tascam Porta Studio. And I managed to get that and take it out to the desert and recorded just with whatever I could find, which I don't know if it's a self-deprecating thing. I like to work with as crappy gear as possible and get as much out of it as possible.
Yeah.
So like the crappy guitar, it was, I'm pretty sure it just had an SM57 and a Sennheiser
421 or
609,
something? 609,
ones that,
it's sort of like squarish shape that you can like hang in front of a guitar
so
cabinet.
I used that predominantly for vocals and the 57 for guitar.
Oh, cool.
Just random. And it was just all about getting the gains right on that to capture the room, mic placement, whatever I could do. And then it was just collecting things. So I'm like, I need some kind of drone sound. Here's a wine glass. So start using wine glasses to get a drone going.
Was that your hand doing the like trying to do your finger on the rim, getting it to like hum?
And would layer those up and then bounce them down to a track. And then one day I was in the local hardware store there, and I don't know why I was there. I was just looking down the aisles and then found this like electric powered harmonium, like really crappy, $5. Then that came on the record, and it was just, and then I went back to LA and worked with this guy, went to his house, slept on his couch, and then see this Grammy sitting on his toilet. And I said, what's this? And he's like, oh, it's just paperweight. And and I'm like, it says Kanye West, late registration. He's like, yeah, I engineered that. And it turned out, he worked for years with John Bryan in LA. And so he worked on a heap of fantastic records, Elliott Smith, Fiona Apple, and a lot of those movies as well, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and Punch Drunk Love. And so his name's Tom Biller, and he became, a lifelong friend. And whenever I get back to LA, I see him, and he ended up coming on and helping me finish the record and, mix it properly. And
so you were recording on the Tascam on the 4-track, and then did he come in to help you with the recording process or two, or is it more like let's transfer it off the tapes?
He helped me transfer it as best.
Did you try
could.
Sort of completing it on the 4-track at first, like mixing it off of the 4-track? All that?
No, I mean all the tracking was done just on the 4-track. We never kind of bounced anything off, and it was all done within those 4 tracks.
And what kind of instruments, like guitar, acoustic, and
so there was acoustic,
voice?
There was a banjo, there was a lot of just hand percussion. So like, I would, I think, I don't know if it was the 609 or the 57, just taping it with a tea towel over it to a tabletop and finding the right spot to hit that tabletop.
To get sort of like a bass
kick.
drum thump?
Yeah, subby kick.
So like there's no actual instrument, it's the microphone and the table, and it picks up
the
thumb.
There was one song where I got back to his place and played a kick drum with a mallet and then a snare drum. So that was the only real drums on one of the songs, I think. But I would just have a bunch of things around, like, glasses and tin cans and things like that. And I've kind of kept that through all the records I've worked on, whether it's for my own stuff or others, like trying to use what's in the organic space. So in a kitchen utensils and stuff like that really brings something.
What's up? Let me, if you don't mind, let me talk about some of the details of what makes that flow and work really well. So, for example, you've got the 4-track. You have the microphone, maybe your 57 you're using for a lot of those things. Yeah. And then you've got headphones on so you can hear what you're doing while you're doing it, right? Yeah. And then you've got the 4-track is portable enough to be right next to you when you're doing it so you can constantly adjust the gain. Yep. That's kind of crucial, right?
Yeah, especially
you have to like invent the sound in the headphones,
right? Yourself, definitely. And I mean that Porter Studio is like the 424, I think, Mark II, and like so at the time I thought I was using the exact one that Springsteen used for Nebraska, which I think his was like a few iterations earlier. The original, whatever that was, the 144. I just finally saw that movie, by the way, which is kind of fun. It's not like overly sensationalized biopic. It's kind of just moody and him going, no, it's got to be just what's on the cassette. And they're like, but it's distorted. It's just battling with record companies and stuff, which is the same. When I got to actually mastering it, we worked with like Gavin Lurson in LA, and they were like, oh, we really can't do much with this, like headroom wise and getting it up to full, studio quality level, but it's just got a sound. And I've finally got back to using tape, but using 16-track like MCI machine and console down at the bomb shelter.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's right in my neighborhood
here in Nashville. And but that had that same feeling for me where I'm like, I love the sound instantly that it's getting on, especially vocals and drums. Mm-hmm. But it's got the limitations of like, we can't have a million tracks unless we bounce them down, but we're not going to. So in this case, instead of 4 tracks, now we've got 16. Mm-hmm. And it's just a thrill. It's exciting.
You're just re-experiencing the evolution of recording technology, right? You just from the 50s up to through whatever, through the present maybe.
I think it's just personally a thing for me that when everything's on a platter for you, it's too much. It's overwhelming. So a million different plugins on Pro Tools or Logic is too much for me, and so I have to kind of make an imaginary limitation, and so that's what I do with everything I work on. And so that's sort of counterintuitive probably to a lot of people who are like, we've got all this technology, let's use it.
Native Instruments now brings you Complete 26 with powerful instruments, synthesizers, and creative tools to help you make music faster and stay inspired. The legendary Absynth 6 is back with evolving textures and experimental sounds, while Contact 8 gives you the tools for chords, phrases, and arrangement right inside your workflow. With Massive X Guitar Rig 7 Pro, session guitarist instruments, and premium tools from Isotope and Brainworks, Complete 26 gives you everything you need to create in any genre. Go to nativeinstruments.com and use the code ROCK10 for 10% off. But let me ask you a question about the process. So you're getting these cool sounds, you've got this simple setup. And it does make recording fun because all of a sudden you have the power to sort of like invent whatever you want in that moment with limitations, but you can just kind of make it up, try whatever, You can discover that like tapping a strange object all of a sudden it's got tons of low end like a bass drum, things like that. But there's still questions about things like, did your 4-track let you punch in and fix something, or do you sort of have to perform top of the song to the bottom of the song each time you add something?
I think it may have had the ability to punch in, but I never got that far. I was just like, I'm going to do a top to bottom
try and do a performance.
Take.
Yeah.
So
even for your vocals and everything.
Yeah. And I mean, I love punching in. I'll do it forever, but then that's the problem of when I've got the ability to perfect something, then I'll just go forever and never be happy because I'm like, I have the technology, I got to keep going. And so on that first 4-track record in 2011 to this new album, Habitual, which is on the 16-track, it was the same thing. We're like, I want everyone to be recording it in that moment, and I don't want to re-overdub my vocal. So and acoustic guitar and vocal were married together. We had a decent amount of separation, but we tried re-overdubbing a vocal onto the original acoustic guitar take, and getting a slight kind of doubling effect, but which was cool, but it took away from the energy of the original performance, which if a band is working and following the vocal, they're being affected by that. Or, well, a good band is following the lyric and the story. And as soon as you re-overdub your voice, you're now trying to follow them or what you did before, and it becomes this hodgepodge of not being there in that moment together. So
I've even noticed that on one of my records where I tracked it with the band and I sang the scratch vocals on an SM7.
Yep.
And then I went back and re-sang my vocals and did a great job of re-singing my vocals and everything. And I kind of got deep into it and layering and harmonies and then tuning. And, I think I did some tuning. There's, like you said, there's stuff you can do. So then you just do it.
Yeah.
And each time you do something, you're thinking like, well, I did a good job of that punch or fix or tuning. But then I randomly was listening, and because the rough mixes from the tracking session were still around, I heard them and I'd gotten so far away from it, and I heard the roughs and it like really caught my attention.
Yeah.
I was like, that's really cool. Like, I don't dislike the new place it's at, but that place it started just has this like natural energy that like pulls me in too. So it's to your point,
Yeah, and it depends what you're looking for. With this record, it was with Lolly's producing, and she was very adamant that, she's seen me just spend years working on an album like the Tropical Depression one, which we did with, I'm pretty sure he's been a guest on here, John Estes.
Yeah, he's great.
And we tracked the band pretty quickly, but then I took it away for 2-3 months on my own, editing, overdubs, bunch of like double, triple, quadruple vocals, all this stuff. And I started to make myself feel sick. I'm like, the more of myself I put on this, the more I hate it. I think it's an Australian...
We become our own possession.
It's an Australian trait to be self-deprecating. But, and so she was like, people love the live performance and the energy that brings. So let's do that, but, in as hi-fi a way as we can from the 70s or whatever,
Right,
so let's use this 2-inch tape and limit it to 16 tracks and do as much as we can live in that one take. And I think we ended up overdubbing the pedal steel player because he wasn't available. So that was, we had to fly that in from a digital file, but and then we mixed it all back down to tape on that same console in the same room, which was an amazing thing itself. Like, we couldn't recall mixes. It's, he'd write down everything where it was when we left, but it's still all physical mechanical gear that you've got to reset, and your bounce down to tape is going to be different the second time to the first time. And
100%. I remember doing sessions on tape where, I'd have all the songs on the master reel.
Yeah.
And so you're rewinding to this, okay, we're going to add this overdub to this song. You have all these things to think about. Like, one of them is don't accidentally record on the song before it or the song after it. So you have to be careful. But also, like, each time you pull this song up, it's not like doing it in Pro Tools. You had to like re-push up the faders and rebuild your rough mix to start working on the song. And as the engineer on those sessions, I began to like learn, oh yeah, this was like, we did this with that thing. And it's kind of fun. You really get to know the song.
Yeah,
but you do pull up a different one every time. And so you better print a rough when you're done with every overdub, because you never know.
Yeah. I just love the momentary performance aspect to it when it's done like that, because what it forces is, this was something that happened in the moment and we shouldn't regret it.
Right.
It happened. Rather than this is something that we can endlessly fix because we have digital technology to do it, because then it's kind of like plastic surgery or something. You're like, I could keep making this better and better, but is it eventually going to lose its organic human?
I think what happens too is we, even to my point of like the new thing I made was good. I didn't dislike it. But what we do is we end up experiencing the fixing. The fixing becomes the result, the product or the action. And so we just keep doing it,
Which I do love that too.
Right. I think that's fun. That also, like I've said this on the show before, but that is what makes us creators and artists. If we didn't have that ability to look at something and think, I can create on top of that, or I can modify it or change it or do whatever to it, then how would we ever create anything at all? So it's like, that's the skill set you need to have. But if you keep, if you don't stop working on something, you'll just keep trying to like manipulate it, keep changing it.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, that's how I approach everything in life in terms of like cooking. I love cooking in the kitchen. I often don't know what it's going to be at the beginning. Right. Or I might be like, this is going to be a spaghetti bolognese. And then halfway through, something accidental happens. Like I go to put oregano in and go, oh no, I've just put curry powder in. Damn. Then I'm like, how can I fix this? Or I can't fix it. I'm going to reinvent it and turn this into a Indian style curry meat sauce.
Yeah.
And that is the great journey when you're working on records, especially if the artists and everyone in there is okay to let it grow itself into whatever it is, some kind of Frankenstein monster. So having a certain amount of planning versus a certain amount of letting accidents or happy, faults determine a new path to go down. I really do love that.
Going back to your 4-track simple version of a record for a sec, when you're talking about adding things like the bass drum sound or percussive elements, what about the order of recording?
Yeah.
So for example, do you ever start with a metronome as a reference, and then do you lay something down first to that? Do you avoid that? Do you put down guitar and voice first and then figure out how to add percussion elements to that? When are the times where the percussion needs to be the first thing and then the things get added to that, to the percussion,
So with that first 4-track recording, I'd never had, actually I had used Pro Tools and things like that before then, but I didn't have a setup with me like that, and I didn't have a metronome. So that 4-track was all about getting the guitar and voice, which I'm pretty sure I might have done that on a separate track each, or I might have done that just on a single mic, and then I lay everything down to it. So the drums was literally learning the ebb and flow of the tempo changing, going through it a few times and going, oh, this is where I slow down, this is where I speed up, because I knew I wasn't going to be doing any chopping and shifting of the drum hits to get them in time later. I was literally had to play it right. So that was always about the story and the vocal and guitar first, and then the drums had to play along with that. And
drums are probably more like just the kick and snare, the thump and the backbeat kind of sounds,
and then other songs had, I used fingernails on the banjo skin as the sound of like brushes on a snare. What was the other things? There was, just pens and pencils, hitting your coffee cup and various other things.
Do you ever find that subdivisions are the hardest part to overdub later, like something that's like a shaker, if it wasn't to a click or something?
Yes. And so I'm trying to think on that record whether I did have much of that. I don't think I did. But yes, since then, there was another record Lollies and I worked on called Glasserland, which was all multi-tracked from a Apogee duet, but with the intention to not sound like tape, to sound like real kind of slick, big studio sound. And so that was always, find a tempo with a metronome on Logic, I think it was, put a loop in there, a kick and snare loop in there, play your first guide vocal and guitar to that, and then build the track and then re-overdub everything later. So that was it was still only working with 2 simultaneous tracks at a time, but then that was the whole digital, let's build it up as much as we want.
Very cool.
And that was where I built the whole sound of a band 2 tracks at a time. So we did a hybrid of MIDI, bass and drums, then with, live bits of a drum kit, but literally like just hitting the snare itself or the hi-hats as one overdub. And that involved a lot of nudging to get it in time. Right. And then we worked with great string arranger here, who's awesome mixer, Jordie Lane.
Jordan's great.
Yeah, his whole family, they're all geniuses. And he mixed that album. He's mixed a lot for me. And he can turn something that sounds like a bedroom recording into like $1 million studio sounding. So there's so many talented people in this town. It's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you record music, podcasts, video, or dialogue, the brand new iZotope RX12 is one of the most powerful audio repair tools you can add to your studio. RX12 now features AI-powered scene rebalance, letting you separate dialogue, music, and sound effects for incredible control and post-production. The new Stems view makes stem editing faster and more visual than ever, while upgraded music rebalance and dialogue isolate deliver cleaner separations with improved machine learning. RX12 also adds trim silence, helping podcasters and editors instantly remove dead space and speed up long-form editing workflows. Plus, rebuilt de-bleed tools and real-time processing improvements make cleaning up noisy recordings easier than ever. From restoring damaged audio to fixing podcast interviews, guitar tracks, vocal tracks, and film dialogue, RX12 is the industry standard toolkit trusted by producers, podcasters, post-production engineers, and music makers worldwide. Go to iZotope.com and use the code ROCK10 for 10% off. Howdy, Rockstars. We're back now for the second half of the show, the jam session. And my guest today is Jordie Lane, joining us here at the studio. Jordie, you ready to jam?
Yeah, I think I'm ready to jam.
I don't even know if I'm going to.
I didn't know there was a jam session as part of this, but yeah, I'm in.
Unfortunately, I can't even tap the desk because all the new high-tech software is going to like remove that from the sound. It's just going to be our voices. You won't even hear dogs bark anymore. So let me pivot to songwriting for a sec.
Yeah.
I've got specific stuff I want to talk to you about, lyrics and all that. But the first thing I want to ask you is, songwriting strikes me as something, you mentioned going to an empty space. You have to give yourself room and emptiness, and you have to let go of possessions so they don't possess you, so that you can do the songwriting. And I've experienced that. And it reminds me of like, Newton, and not philosophers, but the physicians, no, physics. What's the word I'm looking for? You know what I mean? Like scientists saying, like, you have to, there's this idea that in order to come up with these brilliant concepts in the science world, you have to sit around and think. And I think songwriting is like that too. You have to allow yourself to sit around and have space to create, and which could feel in times up against times of like, I got this bill to pay. It could be like, it could feel somehow anathema to that kind of experience. Yeah. So my question to you is like, what do you have to give up? in life to be a great songwriter? What do you have to
Everything.
let go of?
Everything. All your relationships, your physical and mental health. No, those to a certain extent, do get damaged in wanting to stay up all night to think, or not eat or sleep for a while because I'm still thinking and writing. For me, the easy thing is using it. I'm always looking for some kind of dopamine hit. I know that is a kind of catchphrase on Instagram now. Everyone talking about, you're trying to get the dopamine hit. But it is true. That's what songwriting gives me. And the way I get it is by feeling like I'm doing something, that I'm not meant to be doing. So it's almost like a rebellious act for me to go, I'm meant to be doing this spreadsheet or paying the bills, but I'm going to go write a song.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this secret, mystical world of, and so.
Does that mean procrastination is a good word?
Yeah, that's often how. That's not like my deep thinking, where I go in and I go, all right, I'm going to work on writing for this whole day, which I think is important as well. But a lot of what sparks my ideas is I'm trying to pull away from the reality of the mundane tasks of life. So as long as I've got plenty of that boring stuff to do, I'll always try and pull away from it with a song idea. So that's one of my main tools for doing that.
Do you think for those of us who are aspiring songwriters, if we do the boring stuff instead of the songwriting, it's our same thing in reverse, or is it an avoidance almost to like get things done?
Yes, it is, and I do have various times doing that. Look, when I did that Empty House tapes, it was amazing. It was a full month, 9 to 5. I took a packed lunch, a bucket of water to because there was no running water at this house either. Right. But it was just simple. It was like camping, and I had nothing to distract me. I mean, I had my iPhone, but put that on airplane mode. And now I've totally lost my train of thought. But like literally,
I'm writing down all these words for songs, like put that on airplane mode. Yeah. That just seems nice. Somehow that seems like a catchphrase.
Nice. I literally lost.
No, we were talking about things you have to give up, avoidance tactics.
Yeah.
I mean, like going to the empty house writing, which just go to your empty house. That just seems like a really good expression for writing. Like, what do you need? Just go to your empty house.
Yep.
But that was also. I think you're describing that during the, the lockdown phase where everybody was sort of going to their empty house in some version.
Yep. But I've since tried to find anywhere I can do that. And so if a friend is away or something and they're like, hey, can you go water my plants? Then I'll be like, hey, you mind if I sit in your house and work on some songwriting? So anywhere where there's a space where there's just energy just sitting around or room for energy to come through, now feels like I now know how to do that, and I can tap straight in to that. And I think that is physics, where there's literally less material things that are in your way, so that energy doesn't have to get blocked by all this stuff physically. It's literally all just flying at you. And I mean, I think I come from both schools of like where I try to be, an antenna for these things coming in that have nothing to do with me, but they're always going to be perceived by me and my way of seeing the world. So it's a kind of combination of a story that's come out there from the ether and what's internally going on with me. So it's sort of like marrying those two things, and hopefully what's inside you can open up and, meld with that stuff out in the universe.
Right, like find your own internal connect with something external. Too.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always I will always have a topic that I feel strongly about, whether it's a societal or political thing where I'm like, I feel really angry about that, or I feel really strongly about that injustice. How am I going to write a song about it?
So you have a song that you did with, you did a version of it with the Atwood Quartet, which is beautiful, a video called Back Out There, which I thought was really interesting. It's a great concept, like it's time to get back out there kind of feeling. I got to get back out there. And it seems like you matched up like the feelings of like, man, I just got to, it could be like I got to get back out there on the dating scene. It could be like I got to get back out there in the world. It could be that was like a post-pandemic lockdown song about like it's time to just get back out there and interact with people. But some of the lyrics in there that struck me, because it's about picking ourselves up and getting out there. It's about like dealing with fears and problems. There we go. Oh, no, actually, I'm mixing up two songs, actually. So also the other one, Too Old to Die Young, some of the lyrics are similar. So you said like, the line was like, days pass without protest. And I was like, that's a great line, And my scene is being ordinary.
Yep. And let me point out that song is actually written by the co-singer on there, Emily Lubitz.
Great.
So I can't exactly speak for why and how she wrote those lyrics, but I love that
But
line.
I'm guessing they connected with you.
Oh my God, yeah.
Them,
Yeah. I was actually holed up at their studio on tour, and they were putting me up in this beautiful hillside outside of Byron Bay in Australia. And I'd lost my voice. But she was like, we should, you're going to be perfect to sing this song, Too Old to Die Young. And yeah, I sound like this completely old man on there. But yeah, Emily Lubitz, amazing singer and songwriter from Australia who I've known for many years. So check out that record.
Are you ready to launch your career in the audio or entertainment business? SAE Institute Nashville, right here in the heart of Music Row, offers hands-on programs to prepare you for the industry. From studio production and live sound to audio for film and a whole lot more. You'll learn by doing, working with professional-grade gear alongside experienced industry pros. If you're more into the business side of entertainment, SAE's Entertainment Business Program teaches essential basics like contracts and promotion to help you navigate the industry. With diploma, associate, or bachelor's degrees, there's a path for everyone. Plus, Career Services supports graduates as they take the next step. Want to see it for yourself? Immerse yourself in Nashville's exciting music scene and book a tour today at nashville.sae.edu or call 615-244-5848. But I mean, that seemed to me like a really interesting way to reference something like, let's say you're writing a song during a time of a lot of protest activity going on. And then you are thinking about, the song Too Old to Die Young strikes me as like, these are descriptions of what it's like to get older. Like I'm not young anymore. I can't go crazy and die young and I don't know, maybe, conceptually like in a protest of some sort. And that could mean anything from literally being out in some picket line and getting killed, which is an awful thing and does happen. Or it could just mean in protest, social protest, I'm going to go drink myself to death or something like that,
Yeah.
And yet the line is in getting older, things are just, I'm settling in. And so this line of days pass without protest. It's a great way to reference something and also talk about the mundaneness of day to day, the comfort zone of day to day.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also a fear of being kind of desensitized by all the horror in the world and going, oh my God, I'm tired now, and sort of feeling like there's nothing you can do to make a change in this world. But I always think, you know, no matter what you say in the song, you know, if you're out there caring for other people and trying to show that in your day-to-day life, then that is going to come through the song as well.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And, you know, I think in times like this, but also throughout history, you know, people forget the year before. They're like, wow, you know, we've never had weather like this. And in fact, yeah, probably each year the weather is getting crazier.
That's another good line. We've never had weather like this before.
It's humans' ability to forget is incredible, and it's like a survival mechanism, whether that's people being like, oh my God, having children was terrible, and then 2 years later they're like, you were doing it again. And it's like that built-in biological thing to help you procreate. And it's the same with terrible things that happen in history, how they repeat themselves because we've sort of forgotten what we already learnt. It just goes on and on. Very circular.
It's very nice, man. It's like, I mean, you're like, I can see the songwriter in you too, like even describing that, like this, I wrote that line down, we've never had weather like this before. I mean, that just seems like the core, potentially core lyric of a song that is, could describe things like the weather of what's going on socially and politically, but it could also just describe, you know, like we're actually, I know this will come out much later, but we just are coming out of experiencing some really awful weather, you know, here in Nashville recently.
Yeah.
And there's great parallels. And like, these are the things that aren't these the things that like get you kind of excited about a song too? Like you see I mean, how many songs need a double entendre? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Everyone.
Do they all?
Yeah.
Because it does seem like a clever songwriting tool.
I mean, I think I've definitely learned that from American songwriting. Like, you know, all the stuff I've loved has always been that, or using a juxtaposition of let's make a really happy tune and let's sing about, you know, the horrific death of somebody. You know, like bluegrass is amazing at doing that, and a lot of country music, like old time country. And I just love that, like sort of tricking the audience and yourself into, you know, it's like horror movies that use classic soul or disco hits while the person's being murdered or whatever. That juxtaposition really excites me. And so I like to try and use that in the songwriting process as well, which often people who teach songwriting will say, no, the chord change needs to match the feeling and the emotion. Whereas I love the contradiction of, let's say something horrific and or really morbid and melancholy, but do it with this boppy tune or whatever, because then you can create humor, which is like one of the best ways to deal with tragedy.
So like an example, a really literal example might mean the lyrics are upbeat and happy. The lyrics are really referencing some you know, sad things, the opposite, downbeat and unhappy. But the chords are all major chords, all ones, fours, and fives or something.
Yep.
Or the lyrics are super cheerful, but the chords are all in a minor key.
Yeah, it creates a tension there, which I find really exciting. Sometimes, it's not it's specifically trying to confuse the listener to then hopefully bring them back around, you know, like a crime movie or whatever, where they're like, who done it? And you usually find out in the end. But yeah, I love...
Are there some crime movies where you don't find out in the end? I guess maybe there are some where you're like, still, it's a question mark.
And I do enjoy them. I mean, I love film is really the ultimate medium for me. And because I love visuals, I love photography and beautiful pictures, and being able to bring that together with sound is like that ultimate sensory thing that takes me way into a world way more than just listening to a record.
Are you, do you know Pat Sansone?
Yeah.
That's his photography book you're sitting next to right
amazing.
there.
I was just looking at that.
Yeah. We did an interview recently, and
cool.
And, I added the book to the studio library.
I love that.
That's good. Fun. So that brings up a question for me too, because I also love great films. So I feel like I get caught in this combination of I love a great movie, but I'm also like a dude who likes to veg out in front of the TV to relax,
just watch crap.
Shut off and watch crap. So how do you? But there's also this guilt factor of I could just be creating, right? I could be writing a song, and then I'm like, but would I be? And then sometimes I force myself to do it. I'm like, no, it was great. Why didn't I do that? Or other times I'm like, that feels like work. What about balancing that for yourself? So I love the idea of going to the go to our empty house. But at the same time, sometimes we're living day to day. We got to do the bills. We got to hustle. We got to beat the rush hour traffic.
Yep.
We got to, wait too long in the line at the grocery store or whatever.
Yeah.
But yet at the same time, so there's that part is dude, you got to be writing every day. It's got to happen. So how do you balance that out when you can't quite go to an empty house? Or do you just find a way to go to your inside empty house every single day in the midst of all the chaos?
Look, it's not every single day, and I wish it was. Some people are dedicated and they have that discipline, and they have a space to go to. I have a home studio set up, but it's really not, it's not soundproof from my dog, for instance. And he loves to chat. So
Daisy's a singer. You met my dog Daisy. If I play guitar, she just goes into the amp room and starts going,
So I do live vicariously through loaning other people's spaces, subletting other studios, or just going to a cafe or a bench in the park with my laptop and headphones. I've got these little, they're called loops, that cut out certain frequencies. So that can help me get into not a meditative state, but help me block out, sensory stuff of sounds.
Can you clarify that? I'm not sure what you...
Okay, so loops...
When you said loops, I was thinking of the headphone itself, but that's what you mean?
Yeah, they're those little earplugs, and they have different filters on them, or the pair I have, that filter out different frequencies.
Really? I've never heard of that.
So they're heavily marketed to parents to not go crazy when their kids are screaming.
Oh, wow.
And so for my dog barking, that's one of the things, if I'm stressed or tense, that loud sound. And I think it's a byproduct of being on stage with such loud foldback and snare drums that I have got sensitive ears. I've kind of just always been like that. Me and my dog will sit there and we'll hear something from a mile away and we'll both put our head up. What's that? What's that?
Native Instruments now brings you Complete 26, loaded with creative tools for songwriting, production, mixing, and sound design. The big news is the return of the legendary Absinthe 6, with evolving textures, cinematic soundscapes, and experimental sounds designed to spark new ideas fast. Contact 8 continues to be the center of the complete ecosystem, with built-in tools for chords, phrases, grooves, and arrangement to help keep you in the creative flow. With Massive X Guitar Rig 7 Pro, session guitarist instruments, Play Series sounds, and premium tools from Isotope and Brainworks, including Ozone 12 Elements, Complete 26 gives you everything that you need to produce in any genre. Plus, Native Instruments continues expanding NKS integration with complete control keyboards and machine hardware. Go to nativeinstruments.com and use the code ROCK10 for 10% off.
get.
Are you the first one to the door on your hands and he's like looking at the door?
I mean, just as a side story here, like, and which is filtered into my music, those weather events, so the tornado in 2020, then kind of informed some mental health battles for me, and a lot of that's about anxiety to the point of things like my sense of hearing goes to that kind of fight or flight stage where I can hear things that I'm not sure if they're there or not. And so it's insane. It's great for mixing and mastering because I can really tune in on crazy details, but it can send me nuts. But anyway, my dog and I both inform each other with our anxiety. And my dog actually got on medication, and that informed me to do the same thing.
That's hilarious.
Like
the line I was hearing in my head is like, my dog got on medication right about the same time I did. You know, it seems like a good line.
Well, no, he was the one. We took him to a dog psychologist or dog psychiatrist, and because he was having reactivity issues. And I think all of that was informed by the fact that we got him a week before the tornado hit. We were out of power for 8 days, displaced. Rebuilding that whole area in East Nashville. We were right on the border of destruction. And we've since been in that state of kind of fight or flight or freeze since the tornado. And that influences a lot of the way I make music, which is, it's kind of like a powerful energy that helps it, but it also sometimes freezes things up. So, you know, I think we were talking about how to balance, you know, general life and
general life, or
creativity.
just general anxiety about the moment, which is general life. I mean, for me, my anxiety about the moment would be like, I've got so much work to do. I've got to worry about bills. What's going to happen with money stuff? You know, those would be like typical. And it's like, but yet you want to be in that. I want to get into that feeling of like, it's a beautiful sunny day and I'm on a road trip and I'm hanging with friends and we're strumming guitars. I want to be like instantly in that moment. So like a song idea comes.
Well, for me, if I'm feeling like that, beautiful sunny day with friends strumming guitars, that is the last place I want to be to fuel. All of my fuel for creativity comes from anxiety, tension, pressure, and I use that as the fuel. Because a lot of what I do does come from a dark place or a melancholy place.
We talked about electronic goth music earlier too.
I really need to get that out there. It's just fun, like, to play these different characters, and that's definitely something that can get lost amongst like folk and Americana artists. You think the brand is that you have to be this true, raw, honest self. But that's just another version of a ego thing where you're...
I like the way you're doing it, man. Your songs really connected with me quickly. You know, it's funny, when we were getting ready to do this interview, like, gosh, I'm not sure if I'm going to be, you know, you were feeling trepidation about whether you would fit in with the other stuff that we talked about. And then I go listen to your stuff. I'm like, dude, this is what I'm looking for. You know, this is great. Great songwriting and, you know, great songs that actually say something that makes me want to listen, you know, in a cool way. So like, here's another lyric. You ain't no gunslinger, baby. You're a hipster eating gravy off a biscuit in a Nashville house, which I know exactly where that is. That used to be my favorite breakfast joint. You ain't no four-leaf clover. And correct me if I'm getting any of these wrong. You ain't no four-leaf clover. You're a wannabe drover. What's a drover?
So it's somebody on horseback who herds cattle.
Right.
And actually,
it's more of the gunslinger, like the cowboy reference.
Yes. And so that's a term used back in Australia, you know, on the plains and farmland. And so I've always imagined myself being out in the Wild West and being a cowboy. But I've always grown up as a city suburban kid. So that
do you think drover even shows up in a rhyming dictionary?
not sure. But yeah, I mean, that's just always been things like picking up clovers and then having a question. I'm like, which one's the lucky one, the 3 or the 4?
Right. I know. It's like, for me, it's like if there's 2 ways that I could pronounce somebody's name, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Because I'll never remember which one was the right one later. I'll just remember there was 2 options,
Liege.
But then the closing lines are, they're making jokes on your way down south,
Yeah.
which is great to me. And I'm, this taps into that idea of when you write and create songs, we create from our intention. But I learned this from a great poet, Leo Connellan, who said the moment he puts his poetry out there, it doesn't belong to him anymore. Mm-hmm. It now belongs to whoever listens to it.
Yes.
And so as a listener, making jokes on your way down south, it makes me think of being a Yankee come down to Nashville.
Yeah.
There's an element of joking about the South, especially if you go up to the North now, I hear it all the time. Now I am a Southerner. I'm more Nashville than anything.
Yeah.
And I love it here.
That's so interesting.
But and on your way down south also makes me think of that could also mean on your way down south could be it could reference something like, burning out, spiraling out kind of reference too.
And that's all the things I meant for that song. And then the third element to that is that I'm talking about going back down south to Australia.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course.
So that
down
first verse mentions under the southern sky. So the song is the idea of this like a bounty being put out for this guy who's on the run, a cowboy or whatever. But the song really comes from hearing a sort of obnoxious Australian accent in a bar. I think it was at Dee's Country Cocktail Lounge.
Yeah.
This Aussie, I think he was there maybe, well, no, I could hear it. Everybody in the bar could hear how he was in Nashville making a film. He was either an actor or a filmmaker. And just talking so loud. And, he just arrived that week. But, yeah, he knew everything in town. He knows where the greatest burger is and all this. And just kind of big noting himself to. And I know that feeling. And that's what I realized when I was writing the song, that I was angry at this guy for being the obnoxious Australian in town. Whereas often an American in Australia, you'll think that same thing. Oh, right, there's the big, loud American. And so I realized it's just the person who's in a place of discomfort and feeling like they have to prove themselves. And so the song is, by the time I finish writing it, I'm like, shit, it's kind of about me.
Right. That's what I was going to say. That's what's so fascinating, because
and that's what you do. You trick yourself.
We look out at the world and we observe something, and something might, in any moment that something might irritate us about something.
It's often a mirror.
It's our own internal
In
mirror.
fact, it always is.
It always is, right? And it's fascinating.
So a lot of that is like trying to wrestle with inadequacies or things you think are wrong with yourself, where really everybody just needs to give himself a break and realize we're just a little speck of dust in a massive universe, and
right.
Whatever song we write or whatever bill we pay or don't pay, like none of it really matters in the end. And so the idea of, again, I say making jokes down south is like just this idea, not in a nihilist way, but that life is kind of a joke. And if you think about it in a positive way as a joke, it can help get you through, because it's like none of it matters that much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I just put down the idea that like it will all be forgotten.
Yeah. You're writing a song here during this whole interview.
I mean, I just like writing stuff down too. And I want to be a better songwriter myself too. So I'm doing whatever I can think of to
that's great.
Help point things in that direction. But there was a guy I was following who did these like 10-minute prayer things on a podcast. And he was a really oddball character, but he would do these 10-minute like sort of prayer thoughts, and they were great, And in one of them, he was just talking about sort of meditating on the concept of like himself being erased one day. That's true for all of us. So like what you were saying about like things not mattering in the end is like, in the end, like we will be erased and forgotten. Every single thing about us, every single person we ever knew, like all of it. It's fascinating. The idea back to dust.
When enough time. So the only thing some people can think of is for how long after I die can I be remembered, really? Because
I don't know. I mean, I love I get the idea and the concept, but as my uncle told me when my dad passed, he was like, I was thinking about all that stuff. And he was like, it's okay. I don't think he cares anymore. I was like, oh, that's a really insightful thing. Yeah. When I'm dead, I just won't care anymore. Yeah. It's like I'm not even.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how you believe things. Whether you believe people are like stuck in some kind of tormented limbo, or they're like ghosts that can't that they're trapped or whatever. But
are you recording your own music or other people's music in your studio, but you're having trouble figuring out how to get your mixes to sound great? Do they sound weak and distant or lack punch and clarity? Well, I've got a gift for you to help you take your mixes from sounding like basement demos to sounding a lot more like professional mixes. And it's my free course called Mix Master Bundle. This course will show you how to get pro-sounding mixes from your home studio with free and stock plugins in Pro Tools. And the best part is, these mixing techniques will work for you in any DAW, whether you're in Logic, Cubase, PreSonus Studio One, Reaper, or anything you can think of. Are you ready to make your best record ever? Then go to mixmasterbundle.com to get started for free now, and you can find the clickable link in the show notes of this episode. Well, I think those things happen, but I think they happen while we're living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, so closing thoughts on the idea of writing and creating music that is that brings out something that shares something positive with the world, and it's uplifting. Maybe maybe it's through our own reveal. Maybe it's through protest. Maybe it's through whatever the message is that we're trying to get out. I do think that creating and uplifting people around us and encouraging other people to do that is a gesture of goodwill towards all humanity and the whole world, because I just believe the world is a better place if everybody's finding a way to create expressively and communicate their thoughts. I think that's sort of like what you were mentioning earlier, is like people should be able to express what their thing is
and
get it out.
I mean, honestly, people like Rick Rubin would famously say, you've got to do it all for yourself. You can't think about what the listener wants or what the label wants or all that. And that is kind of true. Like, and for me, that's why the process of the songwriting and of the recording is such an important thing to me. And so having an organic experience and a story of something you experienced while doing it, that's everything for me. Once I release it, it's kind of the worst thing, because then you have expectations or disappointment. Is it going to get popular? Am I going to make money from it?
Yeah.
And that's the strangest paradox with music industry in general. It's an art form, yet it quickly became something that people like, we want to make this a commercial venture. And so there's some other art forms that are always going to be anti-capitalist or whatever, like, often like visual artists, painters and that. They're like, I don't want to make any money. I don't want this to be popular. Whereas most in music have that dream of it doing well, financially or fame or fortune. So that's probably the hardest bit. But I do know that writing a song, if that helps you while you're writing it, then chances are there's someone, like one person out there that will help them or whatever. And then that's it. That is the reason to share it.
Well, when you think of artists, there's a common story of artists. I think Van Gogh wasn't well known until he was already dead. You know, there's artists that became famous after death.
It's a good carrot to dangle. If you don't feel like you're doing so well, you're like, maybe when I'm dead.
Maybe I'm just a Van Gogh, you know?
Oh my God. No, I do think that sometimes, you need motivators.
Get in the van and go. There you go.
To keep going. I don't want to lose an ear or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to lose an ear standing too close to the hi-hat.
But look, again, that's an egotistical thing of like, oh, maybe I'll be famous when I'm dead. That's going to be awesome. Definitely a lot of my favorite artists, is what happened. But I don't know.
Dude, I think we got lots more to talk about for a future episode. I got a bazillion questions about songwriting. I keep asking you. Let me get to a couple of questions as we roll out the door here. Here, let me ask you this one. You give just a quick question. What do you think when you were starting out in recording and songwriting? What do you think was holding you back?
Just fear of failure. Worrying about what other people think of me.
What do you think I think of you? Just kidding. That was just a joke question.
Don't care now. I've moved on.
I've moved on.
I'm working on that. I mean, I'm headed to a therapy session straight after this. So
that's great, man.
I'll talk
Therapy was one of the best. I spent years in a chair, and it was so helpful.
As the therapist?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. As the one exploring myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I can offload about this interview with my therapist after this.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
Like, oh my God, this guy. No. I think I'll go in there and be like, I don't know. I always think, and this is the same with songwriting, I think that I have to have a problem to have a purpose.
Right.
So that is one thing I would recommend to people. You don't have to be screwed up to write a good song.
Right.
Chances are you probably are screwed up enough already.
It's like a songwriter conundrum, this idea that like,
you got to be tortured.
Can we ever have a successful relationship, or will we run out of things to write about if the relationship works out or something?
And I had to change my way of writing because I had heaps of failed relationships all through my 20s, and I had a great time and really enjoyed it. But there was a lot of awful things that happened that I do regret, and a lot of that's from drinking alcohol. And I've learned, because I've been with my current partner for 13 years. So I had to learn over these last 13 years how to continue to write and it not be like crazy breakup song.
Right.
And then I realized this is just so much of if I want to tap into some drama, there's plenty from my past that I can tap into. I don't have to be a depressed, screwed up individual now.
We remember the experience that we had once and tap into that. Yeah, that's great.
Or you let things in from outside the walls, from out there. You don't have to torture yourself. That would be the main bit of advice I give.
All right, well, maybe this answers the last question, or maybe you got more to say, but this is the one where we take the Wayback Studio Machine and you go back in time and you find the young version of yourself.
Okay.
And you say, listen, dude, I've come back, I'm sure it's a scroll wheel where you put the dates in, like a little lock on a piece of luggage or something. You roll the things, and then you put in your date, and you come back and you say, I've come back to give you this advice. Here's the single most important thing you need to know to be a rock star of the studio yourself one day. What advice would you go back and give yourself?
Man. My first thing that I just thought of then that I need to remember to do, and I would tell that one back then, is breathe.
Breathe,
Take nice, deep breaths and know that not everybody's out to get you.
Yeah.
And that's not advice for everybody. That's just for my, neurotic, overly anxious rock stars out there. Breathe and know that it's all going to work out in the end. I know that how cliche and cheesy that is, but
no, it's good.
Especially with making records, as long as you put your heart and soul into it, and everybody you get involved in that project, you work your asses off, keep the realness in there, it's going to work out the way it's meant to, and don't torture yourself after the fact. Just make another record.
I think that's great, man.
Just keep going.
We've got so many songs and records to make. Let's make them. Thank you so much for doing this podcast with us. How can the rock stars find you and go learn about you? Where would you like to guide them to go check out all your music?
Look,
we have links in the show notes too.
I mean,
so you can
my website sucks. It's got some of my music on there, but that's jordielane.com, JORDIELANE.com.
And you got some great videos on there too. Really awesome. We didn't even get to talk about
there's YouTube's that all the socials are just at Jordie Lane Music. Instagram's probably where I am most of the time.
JORDIE
LANE.
Cool. Do you still put a heart over the I?
No, but
you're trying to. Is that like a life goal?
I've never done that.
Put a heart over the I.
Okay. So heart to heart hugs, heart over the eye. Yep.
Great, man. Rockstars, thank you for hanging with us and watching. If you enjoyed this and you were just listening, come on over to Videoland. We're on YouTube or wherever the videos are in the future. And you can drop in a comment and let us know that you were here, or tell us where you were watching this from. Or what's a question you want to ask the rock stars that they might answer? Maybe about songwriting. That's a good one. Just put fuck in the comments, rockstars. That's great.
FAAAARK.
Awesome. And then if you enjoyed this, hit that like button and subscribe so you get more of these from us in the future.
Yeah.
Dude, thanks for hanging with us, man. I look forward to I want to come see one of your shows around Nashville.
Yeah.
Already.
Please do. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure, dude. Cheers.
Right. Cheers.
Thanks so much for listening to Recording Studio Rockstars. If you enjoyed the show and want to help make it better, then please share this episode with your friends on social media and leave a rating and review on iTunes to help the podcast reach more rock stars like yourself. You can click directly over to iTunes or go to rsrockstars.com/review for an easy explanation. And remember to hit the subscribe button to keep up with weekly episodes. And if you're ready to make your best record ever now, then head over to Recording Studio Rockstars Academy, where you can start with my free course at mixmasterbundle.com. Thanks so much for listening, and thanks for being a rock star. I'm Lid Shaw, and this is Recording Studio Rockstars. Now, go make great music. Recording Studio Rockstars would like to give a big thank you to our fantastic sponsors who make this episode possible. iZotope, Native Instruments, SAE Institute, Spectra 1964, Grace Design. Check out the Spectra 1964 website for factory direct budget-saving prices on the STX 600, 100, 100D, and BBDI DirectBox. And remember to take advantage of our special coupon code ROCK10 for 10% off any plugin purchase at iZotope.com or nativeinstruments.com. And don't forget, you can start mixing right now with my free course at mixmasterbundle.com. If you enjoyed Recording Studio Rockstars, please check out our sponsors using the links in the show notes below. These are all things I highly recommend for your studio. They're going to help you make your best record ever. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, because it's a great way to help support this show. And I'd also like to thank our fantastic team here at Recording Studio Rockstars, Vlad Weselchenko and Daria Tupesis. Thanks so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.